Good morning, America. Good afternoon from Germany. It is raining outside, heavy storms, and maybe we will have the same today at the stock exchanges. It is Friday, last trading day of this week, and one of my favorite days in the month because we have non-farm payrolls, and probably a lot of volatility will come to the market depending on how the data is coming in. If it's coming a lot hotter, then probably we will see a downturn again in the market. Yesterday there was a big reversal after more than 1% in the green. We turned negative 2.7% from the highs. And today we will see what the market will give us. We are right at the important 12,000 points level, psychological level for Nasdaq. And it will be really interesting how the news will come in. So let's hop right into the market and let's see what it's doing today. So we are trading at around 12,000 points right now, and yesterday, let's go on a 15-minute time frame to see this a little bit better. We went to high points here of 12,353 points. This was an interesting level. Why? Because the previous high was there. I will just remove all these Fibonacci levels here. There was a previous high point there. As you can see, on March 7th, we had a high point of 12,381 points. So it was almost the previous high point here. And if we just draw some Fibonacci levels, you will see that this is an interesting level. As you can see, we did hit this red area here, 12,330 points. We were talking about this in the previous live stream on Wednesday. So rejected there, had a sell-off to the next Fibonacci level 11,980. We closed around 12,000, so perfect hit here. And today we tried to go lower during the Asian session with lows of 11,921 points, but we're still above parabolic. So it is interesting to see if this was just a harsh pullback here, or if we will really try to pull below the previous lows, 11,823 points here. We still have 1 week to go for the expiration of Nasdaq future here, March 17th. Next week there will be the big monthly expiry, triple witching day, because the index futures, the stock options and the index options will have expiration. So there is a lot of volatility to come next week, especially because of the news, because we have more news to come if we go to our economic calendar. Today, of course, is a non-farm payroll day. So the monthly numbers for February, expectation is 205K. The whisper estimates are a little bit higher because, we had higher than expected numbers from the job market. Despite yesterday, these were a little bit lower than expected, or higher than expected in terms of being more initial jobless claims. But all the other numbers were hotter than expected, and therefore the whisper number is a little bit higher, 225K. So just keep this in mind when the numbers are out later, because if we are right between 205 and 225, it can still be a bullish sense. But the previous time we had 517K. This was one of the biggest misses I can remember, because if you look back, we always stayed in between 200 and 300K, but last time we had 517K new jobs outside the farming sector, and this was a big miss of forecast of 185K. It was already a low number, but the miss was even bigger here. So this time we are back in the normal forecast area of 200K, 205K, whisper estimates 225K, but you see the previous numbers were also higher than 225K. Let's see how the numbers are coming in. I'm expecting the numbers to be hotter than the forecast, or even maybe hotter than the whisper estimates. So the market will probably try to drop first. But let's look back to February 3rd to see what happened there on this day. So we want to see what was the movement and what can we expect today. So looking back to February 3rd, this is this red candle here. It was one day after the big earnings from Amazon, Google, and so on. There was the big push here to the high points of 12,950. And then we had the non-farm payrolls here on February 3rd, on this Friday. So let's go to a 4-hour time frame to see a little bit what happened intraday on this day. So here we see this is pre-market. This candle was beginning 1 hour and 30 minutes before the Nonfarm payrolls came out. So you see we went lower on the news. They came in a lot hotter than expected, and we went lower, as you can see, in the first minutes. But then we moved higher, as you can see, up to high points of 12,857 points. So the opening price was here of the candle, 12,000. What was it? 12,680, and then we had high points. Let's just draw another line here. We had high points of 12,000. What was it? Oh, difficult to see now because of all these lines. 12,000, about 12,900, a little bit below. 12,877. So it was a movement of about, let's say, 150 points, maybe a little bit more, and then we went back right away. When the market was open, you can see here, this was 1 hour after the market was open, we went back from these high points here and made new lows. So it's interesting to see that even on these hot numbers, we had higher prices here on this day and made new highs. So this can happen again because the Whisper estimates are a little bit higher. The last numbers yesterday were a little bit weaker than expected, and we had a big sell-off yesterday. So a lot of bad and or even worse expectations are already priced in, and therefore we can see the same movement. If the numbers come in hotter, we will see a smaller sell-off like here. So this was about, what was it, low point here, 12,550, and the opening was 12,670. So it was about 100 points, yeah, let's say 100 points to the downside, and then we moved higher again. So we will have a lot of volatility, big moves probably, but we can see 100 points downside on hotter than expected news, and then see the shift. And this is what I want to trade. So I want to wait for the shift to the downside if the news are hotter than expected, and then trade it to the long side here. This is what I want to trade, because I think a lot of people are expecting hotter than expected numbers and therefore want to trade short or are already short. And if the numbers are not hotter than expected, then there will be a big push to the upside right away, a lot of stop loss triggering. Or if we just see in the first move a downturn, then probably there will be even more traders putting on their shorts, and yeah, if we turn, they will be also triggered with the stop losses. So I think the same pattern here will happen again today. Let's see if it's different. So I'm waiting for the numbers, and then I want to trade a reversal like the last time in February. So which are the important numbers today? As you can see here, the Fibonacci levels are still in place. Let's just look back on a daily time frame and redraw these lines so that it's easier to see from the high point to the low point here. So I would use this Fibonacci. It's just over 3 days here, but this was a strong push here, and we can still use these levels because you can see they were pretty good here in terms of where the candles closed. Therefore, I would use this one here for today. So next Fibonacci level 12,075, 12,150 and 12,225. So still some room to go. It's a little bit bullish pre-market, but we are still around the 12,000 points area where we closed yesterday. So not too bullish. Everyone is waiting for the news in about 5 minutes. What else do we have before we have the news? Let's have a look into Tesla. I was bearish about Tesla. I talked in all my previous live streams about the break of the neckline here, and it happened finally. The day before yesterday we had the break, then yesterday we went lower, and the day before yesterday we had the break here finally, and yesterday we went even lower. We retested 185, but then there was a big sell-off together with the market. Tesla lost about 6% yesterday and is trading now at the next Fibonacci support level 173. So let's see if Tesla can go a little bit higher when the market is rising today, and if it's weaker than the market, or if the market will drop, then probably we will see a push below this support level and a push here to the $160 area, and below we have still this open gap here, so $145 could also be a nice target. Yeah, I would still trade it here to the $160 area. In my German live stream yesterday evening, I explained some option trades you could do with a bear call spread or just with a long put or a bear put debit spread. All are interesting to trade it here to the short side because volatility is still low for Tesla. There's still some room to the upside. More interesting before the news are out is also the banking sector went big short yesterday. So I will bring this up here. Let's just bring financial sector. No, not working. Just look up the symbol. What was it? Thought it was XPF, what? XLF. XLF. So XLF. So it was down yesterday 4% and went even lower. So this is a weekly candle. Let's see the daily. The daily candle. And then we have to switch to the news. So we went down 4% yesterday, and on the week it is red 7%. No good news for the banking sector because Silvergate Capital. They didn't declare bankruptcy, but they said we will discontinue our services. And the Silicon Valley Bank, SIVB, lost big 60%. Let's see this SIVB. SIVB Financial is Silicon Valley Bank. They finance a lot of tech companies, and yeah, they lost big in US bills. they had to sell some bills to get over some big losses they had, and yeah, they produced some more losses, and then the stock dropped 60%, and we are now down 88% in just 3 trading days. You see the implied volatility is rising pretty fast. We are pre-market. We are already down to $35 now. Crazy shit. Oh yeah. Bankruptcy is almost priced in here, as you can see. The put strikes were just going to 140 strikes. Let's see where we will have new strikes there today. But now let's move back to the news with Nasdaq, and let's see what will happen when the news are out. So just some seconds, already moving fast here. 15 seconds left. And it's pushing. News are not out yet. 5 seconds left. Always funny to see how the market is going crazy here. And news are out. Whee, pushing. 100 points to the upside. So non-farm payrolls 311k, hotter than expected. So now there's a downturn here. Above the whisper estimates. But markets want to buy. It's interesting to see. Almost no downturn here. Just 60, 70 points to the downside. And people want to buy here. Interesting. Unemployment rate is rising from 3.4 to 3.6%. That's good. That's what the Federal Reserve wants to see. Private non-farm payrolls also higher than expected. That's good. Average hourly earnings. This is good. Lower than expected average hourly earnings, and 4.6% on the yearly number instead of 4.7% forecast. This is good for the market. This means less inflation and more possibility that we will only see a 25 basis points rate hike in about 12 days on the next Federal Reserve meeting. So the expectation already went back from the 80% we had on Wednesday to 61% just before the news. And yeah, let's see if it changed already again. 57% now. So it shifted back now to 25 basis points from the 50 basis points we had right before the news, or right now. We had 80% on Wednesday. As you can see here, it was 68% yesterday, and 1 month ago it was just 9%. It's now shifting back to the 25%. Yeah, we have still some time, and the quiet period begins on Sunday, so the Jerome Powell and his colleagues are not allowed to talk about all the numbers we will get next week with CPI. This will be interesting next week because there will be even more movement. On Tuesday here, CPI is expected to come in at 6% with a yearly number and 0.4% with a weekly number. This will be interesting to see. So job market is still strong right now. We had higher than expected numbers here with 311k, but the wage growth was lower, and this is good that the hourly earnings are lower than expected. So this should be bullish for the market, at least a little bit. So maybe we can fight these 12,000 level, but yeah, there are some fears from the banking sector, and this is never good because yeah, when we have here this insecurity, this is not what the market wants, and therefore we have to be cautious for the next days and have a close look at news from the banks if they have to get rid of defaulted loans and news like this. Because yeah, this won't be good news if we see further down spikes here in the banking sector. Late to the party. Longs are paying off. Yeah, perfect. So I only have a light long position here, but I wanted to take on more. But yeah, we didn't go to the previous lows. 11,931 was the low point now. And tonight we had lower lows, so I thought we would retest 11,920. What was it? Yeah, 11,921. Yeah, it stayed a little bit above, just 20 points above the low points here. But it's looking bullish right now. We are pulling higher. 12,070 points. Still some room to go back to the highs of yesterday. So from here to the highs of yesterday, this would be 2.3%. I don't know if this will happen today, but I think that everyone will take a deep breath now that the numbers were not as hot as expected in terms of hourly earnings. So this was I think this was even a more important number today than the non-farm payrolls itself. So let's bring it in again here. Unemployment rate higher than expected. This is what the Federal Reserve wants to see. So I'm curious where this is from when we had higher than expected non-farm payrolls, but okay, 3.6%. Hope this will last and we will see higher numbers in the next month again, because this will bring down the risk of higher inflation and bring down the expectation for interest rates. And this should cool down the economy here. This is what the Federal Reserve wants to see. Yeah, but it's especially this number here, 0.2% for the average hourly earnings, average hourly earnings growth here. This is important because this is a direct inflation number. When the wages are growing, then yeah, this is a big issue in terms of inflation, and therefore this number is pretty good for the market here. Yeah, as you see, there was a German CPI today, 8.7%, a lot higher than the expected number for next week for the US, with 6%. But yeah, the ECB has to go still a long way to go for higher interest rate levels. Madame Lagarde is speaking today, so maybe she will give an outlook for for the next meeting. But yeah, I think the ECB will still have to go 50 basis points for the next meeting to bring down inflation fast. But for the Federal Reserve meeting, I think that is 25 basis points are almost set, even if the market is expecting 50 basis points right now. I don't think that Jerome Powell wants to go too fast to the high points. They want to go in slower pace. And therefore they will test with 25 basis points, and the market should see a small rally if it's really 25 basis points instead of the expected 50. Okay, let's see the stocks again. Tesla turning a little bit higher pre-market. Let's just see the pre-market data. So here we see, I don't know why there is the spike. Maybe some false data pre-market. So we are turning a little bit higher from this support line as expected. And yeah, let's see Silicon Valley Bank again, back at 40, but still down from the closing yesterday. Closing yesterday was at $103. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Yeah, never go long in these stocks here, because even if you manage to go long here at the low point and can take 15 to 18% or whatever, it's not worth the risk. Look at this. It's a steep downturn here, and this stock will probably be in the single digit number when the market is open, because everyone will expect the bank to default here and maybe declare bankruptcy. I don't know. They said, yeah, we have enough liquidity to pay out everyone, but where's the sense? Where's the business if they don't have money to lend? So that doesn't make sense. And yeah, it just shows what the market is expecting. This is not a good sign for the whole banking sector here. Okay, let's see crude oil. Crude oil, oops, what happened to my chart here? Crude oil futures. We see a slight turn here. We had lows of $74.77 after the harsh pullback in the previous 3 days. Let's just see the here. Yeah, it's about no change today, but we still have some room to the previous low points here. We had this triangular from the previous highs and lows, so we pushed above here, then we went back in this triangular, so we are in again, as you can see. So we still need to decide if we want to go to higher levels or lower levels, to retest previous highs or go above, and to retest previous lows and go below. So I have no trade right now in crude oil, but I still have trades in natural gas. Let's see natural gas. Also expired my chart here. It's because I'm in the paper trading account today here. It's still open from yesterday. And yeah, here we still see, where's my parabolic? Okay, no, come on, where's my natural gas chart? Here it is. So on a date time frame, we are still above the parabolic, but we already touched it, so we have to close above to stay bullish here. Yeah, we went back from this great up move. If we look back here, so this was from the lows to the highs, a move of 38% to the upside here. I shorted at $3.15 and closed on Monday a little bit early, maybe at $2.88, and then turned to a more bullish trade with a short put and strike $2.25. Now this one is in the red, light in the red, but it's okay. I'm waiting for the prices to find the bottom again and maybe rise further to the upside again and retest the $3 or go above the previous highs. But every day is in my favor because of seller decay. That's what I like about this trade. But I still wait if we can hold these levels or go lower. So 260 is a Fibonacci retracement, as you can see, 61.8%. It was a previous support level, so it should be good if we can hold these levels in terms of parabolic and in terms of Fibonacci. But the next support would be right below the 250, which could also be retested, but it would be a more negative sign here. So I hope that we will stay above 260 and this will be a good sign for the next week, but no sign of a reversal right now. So if you see candles like these here with huge wicks to the downside, and this is interesting, then these indicate strong bullish market and not letting overtake the bears. But here there's no sign of a reversal right now. We are below the moving averages, and therefore I would wait for a clear sign of a U-turn, and then you can take on longs if you don't want to be early to the party. Do you think we pump and dump today or genuine up move? Pump and dump, don't know. Maybe when the market is open that we will see more pump here. We are still waiting for volume here. You see this is a slight resistance here, but we will probably push higher if it's not the same movement like 1 month ago. But there we had a big miss. So today it was a miss in terms of non-farm payrolls, but it was better than expected in terms of average hourly earnings, and this is a good sign. So it should be bullish, especially because it was pretty bearish yesterday. So just a correction from the levels of yesterday, maybe back to the outbreaking point here, 12,150, could be interesting, because there was before the initial jobless claims numbers was the level trading here. Therefore, I think this should be our main target today, 12,150 points, just 100 points above the current level. And yeah, we can go higher, of course, but I wouldn't trade to the short side unless we see a clear signal that we see a sell-off, and I wouldn't take an early short here at this area, because we still have the psychological 12,000 points support here on the downside. So the margin you have for placing a stop loss and for what you can earn to the downside is not really good. Therefore, I wouldn't take on a short trade here too early before we are at higher levels here. Do you think a pull up to the 50 Fibonacci? Yes, to my 50 Fibonacci here, which is at 12,154. Yeah, exactly. This is what I'm expecting, because you see this was a previous support, so it should act now as a resistance, and there was the big breakout yesterday. Therefore, I think this could be our main target today. But of course, we can pull higher if there are more buyers coming in. Yeah, you can use multiple Fibonacci's. So I have now only this one in place with the movement over these 3 days, but you can also use the previous low to the previous high here. And then you have, oh, this was misdrawn, sorry. I will do it again. Oh, no, Fibonacci. Where is it? Here. So I will redraw it from the low point to the high point. So you can use multiple Fibonacci retracements. And you see, when the lines are almost the same, then you know this is an important level, like here. So we have now 2 Fibonacci levels, and we are trading right at these 2 lines. So if someone is using Fibonacci levels from this movement or from the higher move here, they will respect both the same levels here. And the same for the higher level here, 12,250. You see these lines are pretty near together. So therefore, they have more significance. And you see this was a previous high point. This was a previous significant low point. So 12,250 could also be a next target if you are aiming to higher levels with a long trade. But at first, we have to go above this resistance area here. And probably we will go above when we see more volume, when the market is open. But you have to be patient for this. And yeah, this could be your first target for a short trade. You take only for a couple of minutes at the market open, and if you want to be in a longer trade, then this should be your target, 12,230 to 250. Could be an interesting area. And you see yesterday, after the initial jobless claims, we also hit a resistance here and had a smaller correction here for about 30 minutes, and then the bulls were taking over to the next level here. So yeah, just be prepared, but probably we will turn to higher levels and gain a little bit back from what we lost yesterday here. If you have some more stocks you want me to bring up, then just let me know in the chat. Let's see Wix. We were up to highs of 23.50 today and are turning lower now, 21.90. So when the stock market is pulling higher, probably Wix will go lower. But you see how fast the fear can come back into the market when we see the stock market dropping and the banks falling. Then yeah, yesterday was a big rise of about almost 20% in fear, and this is a big move. So we haven't seen such a big candle for several days or weeks. So yeah, normally we see this to the downside here, but 20% to the upside is pretty rare. As you can see, we haven't seen this in this year, but it happens. And yeah, it's cooling down now a little bit. Fear is getting out a little bit. The more the stock markets are rising, the more the fear should get out of the market. But fundamentally, Yeah, I still think that the volatility is too low, because with all the bad news from economy and from the banking sector, with all the defaults coming in the next weeks and months, I think we will see more negative news from the banking sector. Then VIX should be a lot higher, minimum at 25, or maybe at the 30 level, because we have had 30 levels here back in October. You see we were at high points of 34 and 35, almost 35. So we can go there pretty quick. As you can see, this was just 1, 2, 3 weeks, and we were from levels here of 23 to levels of 35. This can happen pretty quick, but yeah, we are still in the sideways range for the expected volatility. And I'm not trading volatility itself. I'm just doing hedge trades with volatility, just to secure my long-term portfolio a little bit on these crazy moves we see right now. Okay, do you have other stocks you want me to analyze? Then bring them in the chat. Let's go to Nvidia. We were talking about Nvidia in the previous days. So let's see Nvidia again. It's sideways trading, and it's interesting to see that it is not a weak stock like Nasdaq or S&P 500. So on a weekly time frame, you see it can close on a first red weekly candle here after 4, 4, 6, 8 after 8 consecutive green weeks. But it is still strong. It is still strong, and it hit my resistance I have drawn in the previous live streams. So we had an interesting area here, and you see these were the closings of some weeks here back in February 2022. So we hit this resistance here. 244.50 was the high point. Maybe this is a smaller resistance here, but it's still pretty bullish with almost no rejections here to the downside, and therefore we can still pull higher. We can still go higher. Let's just use a Fibonacci from the previous low to the previous high point here. So we see we can even go here to 247. This would be the next resistance, but if we go above 250, then there's room to up to 290. So never short a strong stock too early. Just because something has risen a lot doesn't mean that it has to go down again. Like Silicon Valley Bank. Silicon Valley Bank was at, I think, it's $700 some years ago. Let's see with a monthly time frame here. It was at a high point of $763. Can you expect this? $763. It lost 95% since the high point of November 2021. Crazy. Yeah, not a good sign, but you see these crazy moves since COVID. It went higher 470%. Why is the bank moving 470%? Because there was a lot of cheap money, and all the tech companies wanted to finance. So the bank had good earnings. So money was cheap. They could lend a lot of money to the tech companies and were making money. But now there's a big problem, because tech companies are defaulting. They are not making money. So loans will default, and the interest rate level is a lot higher. So they are sitting on a big loan portfolio, which is devaluing. So the value is dropping. And because they have liquidity issues, they had to sell a part of this loan portfolio, of this bond portfolio. And they took a big loss. I think it was 1 billion, 1.6 billion, something like this. So almost the whole profit they made last year erased. Just crazy. And yeah, this will cause big issues here for all the clients of this bank. And therefore they will probably pull out some money. And yeah, this can cause a bankruptcy or just illiquidity for the bank if they have to hand out all the money. Yeah, no good signs. Okay, back to Nasdaq, and then I will let you trade on your own. We are still in the resistance zone here, trying to push above. So bulls are strong, but we need to push above 12,100 and close above to see more buyers coming in. We are above all the moving averages, above VWAP. Parabolic is indicating an uptrend on a 5-minute time frame. Let's see it on a higher time frame. It also turned to the upside on a 15-minute time frame. Hourly time frame here. It was on a downturn here, but now you see we probably close in 8 minutes above this parabolic dot here sitting at 12,000 level. So this will also indicate on an hourly time frame a change of direction to the upside. It's a good sign here. 4-hour time frame, still on a downturn here because the parabolic is sitting a lot higher, as you can see. But it's looking good on the lower time frames. From 1 hour down to 5 minute, it's looking good. On a daily time, not a weekly, but on a daily time frame, we are still long as we don't close below 11,875. It was just a stronger correction here. Back to the important psychological 12,000 level. Triggered some stop losses in the night here, but then went back up above. So I will wait 2 more minutes to see the closing of the next 5-minute candle, but probably we'll see more volume and pushing when the hourly candle closes in 7 minutes, because then some traders will try to push above 12,100, because most traders or systems act when the candle closes. So if we close at 12,100 and are pushing higher, then a lot of traders will be forced to go out of their short position or to enter new long positions, and therefore this can cause can act as a catalyst and cause more buyers to step in a new position here and bears out of the position. Sometimes pretty boring to watch the chart like this, nothing really happening here. Pushing above, retesting 12,100. Still 30 seconds to go. So last 5-minute candle before the hourly candle closes. We are right at the resistance, and now the pushers will come in for the last 5 minutes to close at or near the 12,100 and then push higher when the hourly candle closes. You see, right at the resistance. Okay, I think I can let you trade on your own. Thank you for watching today. Hope you had some nice insights. And if you have some open questions, just write them down under the recording. We will see us next week, probably on Tuesday for CPI data. So yeah, have a nice weekend and relax a little bit, and we will see us in the next week. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. And give me a like for this stream today. Thank you. Have a nice trading day. Goodbye.